Okay, welcome everybody to the joint Henley and Hertfordshire Neighbourhood Plan Committee today, Monday, the 26th of September. Welcome everybody. First item on the agenda is apologies for absence. And I have Councillor Glenn Lambert, the Mayor, Michelle Thomas, Rebecca Chandler-Wild and Jackie Walker. Have you got anybody else, Kath?
No, I don't have anyone else, thank you.
Thank you. Second item is declaration of interest. Does anybody have any pecuniary interest on any item on the agenda this afternoon? I see none. Item 3, public participation. As there are no members of the public at the meeting, there will be no questions unless anybody around the table wishes to ask any. I see none. Item 4, to approve the notes of the Neighbourhood Plan Committee held on the 25th of July 2022 on pages 5 and 6. Can I take those as read? Carried by Don, seconded by Patrick. All in favour of those? Thank you. Item 6 is, item 5 is the progress update. Would you like to give the progress update, Kath?
Yes, I can do that. So we had the hearing for Highlands Farm on the 1st of August, and that was very thorough. Took several hours and went well. The examiner's report has subsequently been received. The changes predominantly reinforce the policies that we had already and makes them more compliant with, or makes them completely compliant with planning legislation. Overall, I think if people have read the report, you'll agree that the examiner was very positive about the plan and about the community engagement, particularly that we'd carried out. So SODC will now decide whether to take the revised plan to referendum, and they're working to a date for that of the 24th of November. After that, if 50% of voters vote yes, then they'll decide whether to adopt the plan, and that would be a council meeting in December. Thank you.
Okay, I've got nothing to add on that at the moment. So if I can move on to item 6, the review of the joint Henley and Hertfordshire Neighbourhood Plan. I just briefly, I'd like to just say a few words. As Kath said, the hearing took place on Monday, the 1st of March, and I put down here 4 residents attended the meeting. I'd like to thank the examiner. August, sorry, my mistake, sorry. I would like to thank the examiner Andrew Ashcroft for the professional way he ran the examination on what turned out to be a very long day. I would particularly like to thank the Town Council officers, Planning Officer Jodie Rhymes and Project Manager Kath Adams, in the way they laid out the case for the joint Henley and Hertfordshire Neighbourhood Plan review. And I'd also like to thank SODC Officer Ricardo Rios and his team for their support at the hearing. Reading through the report, I think it would be fair to say that the joint Henley and Hertfordshire Neighbourhood Plan Committee have put forward an excellent review of the plan, which I hope both Henley and Hertfordshire residents will support at the referendum. On a personal note, it was gratifying to see that Andrew Ashcroft supported housing rather than elderly accommodation on both the old youth club site at Deanfield Avenue and the Chiltern's End site off of Grays Road, both brownfield sites. Home for the Chiltern Centre, a small area of industrial land, homes for the proposed community land trust, 40% affordable housing for local housing associations, an orchard, excellent landscaping. I'm not sure if there are many house builders around that would have come forward with this package which Crest Homes have. So I think we should thank Crest Homes for that. So moving on, obviously the idea of today was just to go through the examiner's report. I did send out an email last night rather than go through each page individually. If I go around the table and if anybody wants to pick up anything from the report, as I say, I think all we're asking to do today is just to look through the recommendations And if there's anything you think is wrong in the recommendation or any typos, obviously let me know. And then we'll get back to SOPC with those. So shall I go? I'll start with you, Patrick.
There's a typo in this report. Yeah.
What page?
It's very early on. Where they refer to Highlands Farm, which could be avoided there. Yeah, 511. Which should be called Highlands Farm, Northfield. That's just so you know I'm not asleep, and I did read it. and I'd like to thank Jodie personally for the green spaces. The Gillet's various representations to the examiner, obviously, won the day, and he considered that woodland is very much a public amenity. So I'm very pleased with that. And that was a concern we all along. So thank you, Jodie.
Okay.
That's it.
Ian?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank him for the habitat, the wildlife and things like that. That we demonstrated in it. It was very handy for that.
Yeah. Okay. Matt?
I just got a few typos in the. So firstly, I think in executive summary point 3, it said it talks about meeting strategic requirement for Henley. I think it could be the strategic requirement for Henley and Harpston.
So which page is that?
Executive summary.
Page 10 of the agenda.
Sorry, I'm on the line.
Page 10.
Point 3.
Sorry, page 20.
Point 3.
Okay,
Executive summary.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to change that Henley and Harpston. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll go with over that. Yeah.
And then on part of point 7 point, I mean, these are all very minor. Do you
No,
want to go through them all?
let's go through them. Yeah, it's going to be the final document.
So 7.28. There's an it missing, in which the second line, I saw the attractive way in which it provided separation between the school and the house to the north.
Okay, that's 7.28.
7.28.
The second line.
Yeah.
Way in which it.
7.38. A general approach rather than an attempt than an is missing. That's the third line.
Sorry, that's on 7.3.
7.38.
Okay, sorry.
Third line is the second sentence. It sets out a general approach then rather than an to anticipate.
Are we happy with and rather than a?
Yeah.
An attempt.
Okay.
7.45, the first bullet point should read to simplify, not to simplify.
Yes.
7.50. While it is a positive approach, this is the third line from the bottom of the first paragraph.
So
it is a word.
Line 5.
Line 5, 7.50.
yeah,
Whilst it is a positive approach. And then 7.125.
You obviously weren't watching golf last night.
No, I wasn't actually. So 7.125. The matter, it's again, third line, however, the matter was already being debated, the matter has already been debated. The 7.125, the third line, was, should be, has. And that's it.
Yeah, brilliant. Excellent. Unless you got done, because you were going to bring those up, weren't you?
Probably would have done, but not as many as that. It's quite a good report. Lots of compliments about the quality of it. Really good to read that. The only thing I picked up that hasn't mentioned 747. The first sentence doesn't make sense. There's something missing, I think.
It's on page 29.
29.
55.
There you are.
Maybe it should be in the NA. Be included in the NA.
Ken,
Or maybe it's
Yeah,
just
sorry.
should
Yeah,
be
sorry,
deleted.
Karen.
Ken,
Yeah.
unless there's changes to what the examiners actually proposed for the policy wording, I don't think we're too concerned about the typos in the report. It's more the text that's in bold.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I just think we should correct any items in this report as well, though, Kath. I totally accept what you're saying. That yeah, the items in bold, the items in bold are the items that go into the plan, but I think the background papers should be correct. Yeah. So yeah, I hear what you're saying, Kath. Sorry, Don.
So maybe it needs to delete the should. So it would read that will be sought in the NA.
Yeah, so we take out the should.
Otherwise, I think Matt covered everything.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Nothing further. I sent my nitpicks to
Oh, you did a while. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jodie. Like Don, I was glad to see the compliments to the Secretariat, which I thought was jolly good.
Yeah. I'll touch on that in a while. Joe?
Just one, page 23, 716. Replace all development proposals with as appropriate scale, nature, and location development proposal, should, etc. I just wondered if that was a bit weasel work, which would enable a developer to wiggle out things.
We hadn't, there was a discussion on that.
Yeah.
The problem was that they didn't like, what they didn't like was that Press Nicholson was being subjected to the same criteria as a developer developing their garden. Yeah, that means that someone developing or even, I think, anything that came before planning. So, someone for the extension, do they then have to put in 3 trees?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, so he wanted it to be proportionate.
Yeah.
So and that was his reason for including that.
I presume there was a reason for that.
Yeah.
But
I think we're very,
certainly,
as Ken said, with press, we're very lucky that they're not likely to wriggle out of anything, that we will get we will get various things. So it's just that we didn't want small developers doing individual sites or to be punished, so having to do more than their fair share. And that was his concern.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've got 4 points that relate to the bond. First of all, on page 16. He quotes the current population of the neighbourhood.
Which is that?
5.1,
Yeah.
line 4. Population in 2011 was 12,000 more. this figure doesn't appear in my draft of the plan, but I think it should certainly be included in the plan as a basic figure for the population. Unless someone's corrected it, this is, I got the December draft of the plan itself. And as I say, that figure, 12,179 is not the figure. I don't think it was released at the time draft was produced.
I wouldn't have thought we would need this in the review. I could understand that figure going in the original one.
In the plan,
Yeah,
that's what I'm suggesting, yeah.
Kath, do you have a view on that?
I thought it was in the plan actually, but I can check afterwards.
We'll check.
Yeah.
Yes. Page 27. of the 55.
Yeah.
Talking about the geology and the impact on the fate of rainfall.
Which item is talking to?
I'm talking about the first paragraph on page 27.
That's the one involved in at the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, nitpicking if you like, but rainfall is not affected by the underlying chalk. It's the fate of the rainfall that is affected.
Yes. Affects, it should be affects the underlying chalk, what it is affected by. The rainfall affects.
No, the other way around.
No, the rainfall affects the chalk because it goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see, it's what happens to the rainfall.
What happens?
So it goes into the chalk.
So it really is that the way, capacity of the site and the way in which what happens to the rainfall is affected by the underlying
Yeah.
in the area.
Yeah, I see what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
It's certainly the way it reads, it looks as if the chalk is affecting the rainfall.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Kath, can you put a change in for that? Hello?
I think that's fairly clear, to be honest. But I can suggest that to SODC.
You would, okay, thank you.
It's the effect of rainfall is affected by the.
Well, perhaps it needs rewording, but
We'll go back to SODC and what they suggest, yeah, but no, points mentioned, David.
right. So now, page 30. Of 55. Oh, that's 20.
So which one now?
Page 30 of 35 or page 20 if you've just got.
Okay, yeah, page 30 of 55.
Line 2. The inspector has inserted the needs of South Oxfordshire.
So which one are you talking to?
Top paragraph,
Yeah.
In italics.
Replace the first sentence. Yeah.
yeah. He's inserted the needs of South Oxfordshire, which could cause difficulties in 5 or 10 years' time. It reduces the impact of Henley on the neighbourhood plan. Previously, in my draft, anyway, it says the housing needs of Henley and Hertford only. Now they've inserted South Oxfordshire.
Is that to bring it in line with the local plans?
Well, it's already in line with the local plan, and it has to be as part of
But
the.
then I wonder if you thought looked for one thing, just make sure that we are acknowledging it's in line with the local plan. I don't know.
Yeah, I just point that out to the Henley committee, as it could reduce their effectiveness.
Okay. Point mentioned. That was your 4 points.
No, the other.
There's more.
The two of the four.
The other thing is parking. And
Page
on page 32, or page 22, 762, replace B with. Okay, everyone there?
Yeah, additional opportunities to
Well, most of the traffic, or a lot of the traffic congestion in Henley is driven by people looking for parking spaces. So if there were more car parking spaces, there would be less traffic congestion, and yet he hasn't mentioned any improvement or expansion of car parking.
Well, that's not, that's,
60% of the traffic is through traffic.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
So
60%
actually,
isn't
what
the
affects
parking.
congestion in Henley is through traffic.
Well,
There is an element right in the centre of the figure of 8 where people are going through the car parks, cruising, trying to find spaces at certain times.
Yeah.
But actually, most of the congestion, the queues on Reading Road out on Northfield End are not people trying to park in the town. They are actually people trying to get through the town at rush hour. So
yeah, I agree. It's only one factor out of several, but I think you can get remembered.
I think the policies that we've got in the plan will incorporate those, Patrick.
And then on page 34, where he's talking again about car parks.
Which I,
1, 2, third paragraph down, starting development proposals to redevelop existing public car parks.
yeah,
On the last line there, where it says to meet the needs of the town centre and the railway station, I would suggest putting the word future in, future needs of the town centre, because the needs are going to increase substantially as houses are built in Shipley and also Highland Farm. The demand on town centre car parks will inevitably increase, and the station car park is the only open space within walking distance of the town that remains.
well, I think it says that there, though. It says to use remains appropriate to meet the needs. I think the word's there to meet the needs.
Yeah, I think the word future implies that there will be an increase.
Well, we could say current and future.
well, there's an issue, and that is if we can't plan what's going to happen after the end of this plan, and future would imply events that are going to occur after the end of this plan. Needs will be the needs of people over the duration of this plan, and that's what we're dealing with. So this has a very finite duration of this plan, 2035. So that is the current, but for this plan, that is the context of the present, and the future is 2035 onwards.
Well, that's one interpretation. My interpretation of future is from now onwards. Well,
Yes, except that this is the 20 whatever, and this is the plan for.
Plus it will be reviewed in 5 years' time.
Unless it's reviewed in 5 years' time, so chances are future will be dealt with then. Yeah.
I'm happy with that. The to meet the needs, and to meet the needs. Yeah.
Because there is a thing later on, isn't there, when it says that it may have to be reviewed if things change.
Yeah. I think we should leave that.
There's an element of the future in this, and
Yeah.
Patrick says it's out of the next, whatever, we'll let you, 13 years, so there's an element of future in it. This is the timescale we're talking about.
Let's move on.
right, finally.
You did say 4, didn't you?
8 out of 4.
Well, 3 of them combined, yeah. This is another car parking one.
Which page?
Page 40 or 30.
Is this
794.
40 or 55? Or page 40?
40 or 55.
Right, okay. Yeah.
9794.
Yeah.
Talking about the Empstead Works Stuart Turner site.
Yeah, I read this, yeah.
I remember a previous discussion on this site did include the proposal to extend the Green Road car park into hardware site, but I see that's been dropped here.
Well, we may well have we've discussed lots of things, but they're not in the plan. You know, lots of discussions took place and we agreed with some and we didn't agree with others. But it's not up for us to change these now. We're not debating the issue of changing things now. We're basically debating or discussing what is in this. Is this true? What took place at the meetings? So just because that item's not in there, I agree. We do. You know, this was talked about. This was talked about in the previous plan as well. Yeah, but it's not involved in. It's not involved in this one.
Well, it is in a way, because they're talking about the future of the site. And
Well, that lays out what the site's going to be in those 3 lines.
well,
Well, I agree. We did debate the issue, but it's not what was finally agreed. What was finally agreed is basically that word in there, which may have been changed by the examiner. But that's basically what was agreed. Well, I hear where you're coming from. Yeah, but there were lots of other things that were debated that weren't in the draft plan that went to the examiner.
well,
Yeah, but I hear where you're coming from.
do we need a single format food store anymore in the car park?
Well, that's what we've agreed. You know, we're not here today to debate the issues over again, because you feel we should be debating a car park rather than a food store. You know, that's what had been agreed. All the examiners done, it might change some of the wording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we just kick off
No point.
our next neighbourhood plan review. As to whether we kick out this food store and increase car parking. You know, that's something we can do next time round. I mean, it's going to come like it or not, and it could be quite radical because we don't know what central government's going to do.
Okay,
So they know what they're going to do.
was that the last one, Dave?
Yeah, those are the points that occurred to me.
Thank you. I appreciate this. Jim.
Thank you. I'm grateful that colleagues have left me on.
Okay, one more.
It's in 514. Where the word "at" is missing, it's a minor.
Page what?
Well, it's page 7, if you're looking at the numbers on the golden pound. It's on 514. Page 17 of 55.
Page 17 of 55. Yeah. So which one, Jim?
514.
Yeah.
I looked at the proposed housing site populated road. I think it is. I looked at the proposed.
Yeah, I've got that on mine.
No, down here. I looked, the last slide.
Oh, you got the same one again, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I looked at.
Just about, I think. Well spotted. Fine. It was the only one there. I'd also just like to say congratulations to Councillor Arlott for the way he's shared this thing through the last 3 years. Fantastic.
Where were you the 2 years before that?
Oh, I thought it was a long time.
I thought things gone great.
Right, I've actually saying that, you know, thanks to everybody for going through that. I appreciate that, and I totally understand where Kath is from, but it doesn't hurt to get these things totally correct, because someone will come along and read this report. And you know, probably I won't use the word, no, I won't use the word, but they will go through the report and find a few typos. So you know, thanks for that, and obviously for paying attention. Kath, sorry.
I was just going to say, someone who's watching in online has just texted me to say, surely if more than 50% accept the plan at the referendum, then it automatically becomes part of the local plan. Is that right? It doesn't need to be made by SODC.
If the person would have come to the meeting, he could have asked a question, Jeff. Sorry, so I'm not going to take that. Sorry.
No, it has to be formally adopted. There's still a final hurdle.
We'll go through this.
Yeah.
We're going to get to this on the next steps. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, Kath, is there anything else you want on that, or you've got too much anyway?
No, that's all really helpful. Thank you very much.
Okay, right, let's move on then to the next steps, which I'll pass over to you first, Kath.
Ken, I think there was a resolution.
Was there?
Yeah, on the report for that. You need to vote for it to go through.
Page is that on?
Page 8. No, page 8 of the agenda.
Yeah,
No, page 8 of the agenda.
Page 8 of the agenda.
There we go. Yep.
paragraph 6.
There we go.
Okay. Right. Okay, yeah, so basically the committee, we're going to vote hopefully to resolve to recommend to full council, which would take place on the 4th of October. On the 4th of October. I'm going to have a proposal to accept the report, this report by Matt, seconded by
Yeah.
Patrick. Okay, all in favour of that? Okay, thanks for bringing that to my attention, Kath. So that's now gone through, so can we move on to item 7, next steps? So pass over to you, Kath.
So I think the next steps, Hertfordshire Parish Council are meeting this evening to discuss the examiner's report. And they'll also hopefully agree that they're happy for SODC to carry out referendum. SODC will decide in the next few days that they're definitely going to go to referendum, and we're looking at the 24th of November for that currently. And then, as previously reported, that will go to their full council to adopt the plan finally, assuming the referendum goes in our favour. Herder period will start 4 weeks before the referendum, and we have just literally 5 minutes before the meeting started had a document through from SODC with what we can and can't do during the Herder period. So the council itself and councillors are very limited in what they can do to promote the neighbourhood plan. I believe, and last time we sent a letter out from the mayor encouraging people to vote, but we can't encourage people to vote yes or no. So I'll circulate the document that's come from SODC anyway, so that might make things a bit clearer for people. There are limits on the expenses that you can lay out on the encouragement of voting, etc. as well, and that's all detailed in the document from SODC. I think that's all I've got to say, Ken.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, the letter that got sent out before, God, I hate it when people don't put dates on letters. It came from the mayor at the time, which was Lorraine Hillier. And would you like me to read it out or not?
Yeah.
Okay. And basically what it says, yeah, obviously the yes or the no, but my question was on this Kath, before I read it out, it tells you where the referendum was, which was Thursday, March the 10th, whichever year that was, probably about 2016, I believe. But so it mentions the date of the Thursday of March, the 10th, when the referendum was, but it doesn't say when this letter was sent out. And from what you're saying, Kath, we're not allowed to do this 4 weeks before the referendum. And looking at this letter, it almost, if it came out probably a week or so, or 2 weeks before the referendum. So we need to find this out. But basically what it said, dear Henley resident, for some reason it didn't mention Harpston, which we should have done. The joint Henley Harpston neighbourhood plan referendum on March the 10th. If you are registered on the electoral roll in Henley, you will have recently received a polling card for the referendum on the joint Henley and Harpston neighbourhood plan to take place on Thursday, March the 10th. I'm writing as Mayor of Henley to encourage you to vote. I'm not sure if Harpston wrote their own letter, Kester.
I can't remember.
Okay, that's fine. So we can either do a joint one. Henley is required to take more housing over the next 15 years by South Oxford District Council. local plan. The joint Henley and Hertfordshire Neighbourhood Plan gives our community the opportunity to decide the location of key housing development to meet this requirement. The plan has been developed by volunteers, all of whom were local residents, and guided by input from the wider community through the extensive consultation and focus groups. This is your plan. If you vote yes in the referendum, South Oxford District Council will refer to your neighbourhood plan to help it decide planning applications. If you vote no, which is interesting, your neighbourhood plan will be excluded from the decision-making process to determine where additional homes will be built. The plan that we are voting on is displayed prominently on Henley Town Council website. The referendum on the neighbourhood plan on Thursday, March 10th is an important decision for the people of Henley and Hertfordshire, and I strongly encourage residents to use their votes. Yours faithfully, Lorraine Hillier. So basically what I'm asking you, would you support a letter going out? Would you prefer it go from Henley and Hertfordshire, or should Henley do our own and you do your own? I would propose that we do a joint letter. Matt, or
Matt, do you have a view?
I think we should do a joint letter personally.
yeah, so we do that. It'll either come from the mayor or myself, but we can
Just a
determine.
quibble on the wording of that one.
Yeah,
It doesn't actually say that it's a majority vote, because it's a, if you vote no, almost implying that one person voting no can sign the whole problem.
there's a lot wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to draft a letter.
That's one.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of other things which I think would probably do with changing, but it needs to be, you're totally correct there. But we need a letter drafted out. But my question is, do we send this out? I think we'll have to take legal advice on it. Do we send this out 4 weeks before the referendum, whenever it takes place? Or do we send it out 2 weeks before the referendum? If you send it out 4 weeks before the referendum, that's 2 rubbish collections take place. Too soon. Yeah, so my view would be the later the better.
Yeah.
But we need to, and I would have thought if we offer a yes or no, I don't know about you, Sheridan, but I would have thought if we offered a yes or a no, that doesn't favour either. So we're only bringing notice to the date. Kath?
Yeah. I need to look into it in more detail today.
Yeah.
This was accepted and signed off by the electoral officer at SODC last time round as being acceptable. But we obviously we can check again if we draft something up.
Well, we've got plenty of time anyway if it is the 24th of November. So we've still got 2 or 3 weeks to work this out. I would prefer personally, and hopefully the support of the committee, that we probably sent it out, say 2 weeks before the referendum, because I think the majority will just get lost if we send it out too soon.
Agreed.
Would you
use the Henley standard? People like places like that?
Well, obviously the Henley Standard are listening today, one would imagine, but also the Henley Herald. So they're obviously taking note of this, and they're always both very helpful. So they could bring out or put the information out a week or 2 before. That's not a problem. But I think if we're going to send it out, we need to send it out at the correct time. And I would suggest 2 weeks before the referendum is the right time. We have a courier do it. I know you've done the Hertfordshire ones before. But that's up to you if you wish to do that. If not, we'll just get a courier to do them one way or the other. So
I think the key things are, as was alluded to in that letter, was to really highlight the implications of the plan succeeding and the plan failing. So not only if you vote yes and you vote no, but this is what is going to happen. I think also it would be very useful to highlight the fact that this plan is the result of 5 years,
at least
so that
4.
people don't just think, well, this is something that's going to come around and we can vote no, we'll change it. So they understand that this is a culmination of a lot of in-depth work over the previous 5 years. So therefore, I hope they take it seriously.
So is everybody going to get sent a letter every year or something, or can't?
We would do a letter. Yeah. Okay, you're happy with that?
Does it tell them where to vote and how to vote?
No, but there will be polling cards. Polling cards will be sent out by SODC.
As well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that obviously tells you where to vote. It would just be like a local election. Yeah.
Yeah.
Won't be very busy, but it'll still be fun. Is it 8 o'clock to 10? I think they're the hours. Yeah. So yeah, so it will be like a local election. So yeah, so everybody will know where to vote, and there'll be postal votes as well.
Okay.
All that kind of stuff. Anybody wish to add anything else before I sum up? No. Okay.
Oh, yeah, just one question. We did, I think, agree about the population of Henley being inserted into the plan, if it's not there, if it's not there already. So that is a modification to what the inspectors suggested.
Yeah.
There were one or two other suggestions of modifications to what was the inspector was suggesting. So is it a principle that we can modify?
I think yours was the only one that was the modification. I think there may be talk about others, but let's see if Kath can find it first. See if
Well,
it's-
the other one was the insertion of South Oxfordshire in the needs. If you remember, it was the meat needs of Henley and Harpston changed to the meat needs of South Oxfordshire.
Well, no, I disagree with that because they combine together. South Oxfordshire's needs are our needs. We live in a district, and Henley is part of the district, and it's part of South Oxfordshire. So I don't think you can split up South Oxfordshire from Henley and Harpston. My view is,
Well,
that is the district, and we're part of it.
potentially you could get overspill from Oxford or Big Top or places.
In what way?
Sorry?
In what way? You could get people from London moving to Henley, but they're still in South Oxford district.
Well, yeah, if we're sticking to numbers that are put in the plan, well, I'm saying that in 5 or 10 years' time, South Oxfordshire might change their allocations.
But they're drafting a new local plan. I bet they're drafting a joint one with Wales, so goodness knows what's going to come out of that. And then we then have the 2-year period in which to perfect another neighbourhood plan. So I don't think they can change our numbers in the meantime.
No.
Let's leave that one then. I think just to chop and change for my view, for the sake of it, I don't see the need of it. We're talking about the district councillors are and we're actually part of it. We're not going to put in the Vale of the White Horse, for instance, and South Oxford District Council. We'll just talk about South Oxford District Council. I think leave that one. The other one on the numbers, Kath, if you could just check that one out, and if it's needed, if you can take that up with Ricardo Rios, would that be okay?
Yes, I can check that out.
If you would, okay. Thank you. Nothing else. Okay, after 4 or 5 years, whatever. Let me just sum up by, I'll read this out. And obviously, I'd like to thank all the committee, both councillors and more so the residents that have stuck through this for the 4 years. Especially at the start of this, the amazing amount of research we did, on all the aspects. And we all spent a lot of time on there. So I'd really like to thank everybody for sticking to it. I think we only lost a couple of people on the way. I think one was a Harpston developer, crossways, but we won't go into that.
I could say a lot on that.
That's why I asked people to speak before I summed up, Gester. So yeah, obviously, thank you mainly for the residents giving your time, and it is most appreciated. So thank you all for that. Obviously, thanks to Kath Adams who started the review And this was before I think I was re-elected to the town council. But my biggest thank obviously goes to Jodie Rhymes, who was taken on as the planning manager a couple of years ago, who has put the plan together. And you know, she's put an amazing amount of time in this, and she's worked the occasional weekend to hit deadlines that have been pushed our way. I know she's lost a few hours of sleep over that with stress and strain, and I've tried to explain to her at the end of the day, you know, decision will be made and something will always happen, may not go any favour with it, may do, but whatever you do, losing sleep is not going to change the result of anything. But she's done a fantastic job. And I say now she can put her feet up for at least a couple of weeks, and then she can obviously start a 6-hour shift. So you know, a big thank you for Jodie for the amount of time and effort she put in. I don't think we're going to meet again, this committee. I might be wrong. So I'd like to formally thank everybody who's been involved with the neighbourhood plan. And amazing, as Jeff said about me being chairman, but believe me, it's a lot easier when you're chairing something, when you've got a really good committee. And we've had a fantastic committee running this. And I just thank you all for giving up your time, and perhaps we can meet again in 5 years' time. So thank you all for your input. It's been excellent. Thank you.